Good evening, Jaipur. Hi, students. Today I am going to start one new topic. That topic is, you can say, common for a lot of languages, and the topic is known as functions. So now let's come why we need functions, what are actually the mean of functions, and how they are playing an important role in any programming language. And then we will see how we can do the programming through the functions, and then finally we will conclude the type of calling of functions, because there are a lot of calling mechanism for functions, and some having advantage, some having drawbacks. So we will compare all the mechanisms. So let's come. The first point is, what is function? So my agenda for next 2-3 tutorial is, we will try to cover the complete functions in a manner then you can understand the complete philosophy behind functions and the importance of functions. So I'm going to cover the definition part as well as its important, and then we will cover how to declare, define, and then we will cover the calling mechanism for all the functions. So the basic meaning of function is, so generally I put a example in classes, like take an example of any kind of big program. Let's take an example of a marriage function. So marriage functions, in a marriage functions we have a lot of you can say subparts, like one is decoration, one is related to your sweets preparations, sweet distributions, one is related to dance and other arrangements. So if a single person will do all the tasks, then you can understand the burden, how much he will get paid. Okay, or you can say, the if a single person will be failure, then all the marriage, or you can say all the big programs may be interrupted. So the best part is, in these scenes, the how people generally works, they divide the task into subtasks. How they are doing, the main member of the family, or you can say the head of the family, or the person who is the having the control, or you can say the primary responsibility to for these kind of functions, they generally divide the programs into sub programs, like the sweets and distributions, that task will be done by this person X, like dancing and catering kind of task will be done by the person Y, like other tasks any related to decoration and all will be done by someone else. Okay, and main member will communicate with all the functions, and whenever they require for any report, they can call this function. In the similar manner, in any programming language, we can divide a big program into sub programs, and with the help of these things, we can add the modularity in our programs. It means we are dividing our program into modules. So as I discussed, function is we can say, according to programming, it's a sub program. It means it's a combination of some codes, or you can say block of codes, and these codes will do or you can say perform some particular task. So the importance of function is what? It adds modularity in our programs. Now the second thing is, if we have to repeat the same kind of task multiple times, so it is better to write code again and again. We have to put such kind of code into a block, and we can call these blocks multiple times. It means we can say we are trying to avoid repetitions of the same code, or you can say we are avoid the ambiguity of the program. Every C++ program, or either a C program, they generally have main functions. Okay, so if you want to note down, then you can note down the benefit of a function is, a program can be divided into small sub programs, and many programmers can work on separate functions. What is the meaning of this? The one functions can be handled by someone else, the other functions can be handled by someone else. It means nowadays we can observe people can work from their locations. So these are also possible due to these kind of important concepts. So in the last, if you can observe, then what will be the general syntax, how we can declare a functions, how we can work with the function. So the general syntax say a functions having three important things. So the syntax which I am going to discuss with you is, this is, you can say, declaration and definition syntax. So the first thing for a function is its return type, and these all things are, you can say, prototype of functions. It means the about the functions. Oh, what is the function name, what it will return, what it will take, it means the parameter. So three important things are return type, what this function will return whenever we will call, function name, how we can call a function, so with the function name, as well as the parameters. It means, like, take an example, we are going to add two numbers, so we have to pass two numbers, then the function will return to you the result. And in the curly braces we have to define the body. It means whatever we want to do, we have to define here. Okay, so let's come on the next slide. So as I discussed, there are three important things: declaration, calling, and definition. So function declaration having these kind of things. It means we have to write down the return type. A return type is, now you can ask, what is return type? So return type is a valid data type. Valid data type means what? Either it's a primitive data type, or you can say derived data type, or it's a user defined data type. Like it can return a value, integer, float, doubles, char, such kind of things. The second thing is function name. It should be a valid identifier. So I think you are aware about the rule of identifiers. So we have to follow all the rules. And the third important thing is, in the round brackets, we have to pass the number of parameter as well as the type of parameter. Okay. And how we can call a function? So we can call a function with the function name. There is no need to write down return type again. And now you can pass the actual parameters for which you want to do the operation. And the last but not least is the function definition. It's a very important thing. So you have to write down in the similar manner of function declaration, but this time the statement should not having semicolon. The function should have a body in the curly braces. Okay, so let's see a first example, or you can say simple example for the functions. So now in this example, you can observe I have declared a function, and the function will not return any value. It means it will not return any value, so that's why I mentioned here return type is void. The function name is multi, okay, or you can write down here multiplication, and we will pass two parameter here. The first parameter will be integer, as well as the second parameter will be also integer. So this statement is terminated with the semicolon, and as you can observe, this is known as function declaration. Okay, now let's come on this part. This part is known as function definition. It means what this function will do. So let's see. And if you can observe, at the function declaration time, we declared on the only type of variables and number of variables. So at that time you can avoid the name of variables. Okay, because at that time compiler just want to check what kind of parameters and how many parameters you want to pass in these particular functions. Compiler is not bothered about the variable name, or you can say parameter name. But at the definition time, you can observe you have to pass variable name also. Like the first variable I took here p, and the second parameter I took here q. I have declared one another variable r, and you can, now I am doing the calculation. R is equal to p into q. It means I am doing the multiplications, and then I am displaying the result here only. It means within the functions I will display the result r. Now just see, the third important part of the function is function calling. So here you can observe in this line I am going to call the function multi x and y. So I have to pass the actual value, and which I provided here to the compiler is x is 10 and y is 20. So what will happen? With the help of this line, compiler will look for this code. Then compiler will go on the definition part, but before definitions it will look for the declaration. So declaration definitions you can do in the combination also. It means only once, both can be done only once, or you can separate them both. Okay, so let me in the next class we will see the calling mechanism for the functions. Now just see how we can work through the programming. So I am going to start my compiler again. This is my Turbo C, and I am going to create here a new file. So first thing what we have to do is function declaration. So I have declared function here multi, or you can say multiplication. Now I have to pass the type of variable and how many variables I am going to declare, and this is known as function declaration. Now the second important thing is the function definition. So you can define here also. So in the function declarations we have to provide the variable name also. At the declaration time, these variable name are known as dummy variables, but at the definition time you have to provide the name. So like in our example we took here p and the second variable is q. Now in the body part I have declared one another variable r. Then I have done the calculation on the basis of p and value of q. Then cout, or you can say result is, and you have result with r. Okay, now let's come on the main method of the program, and now you can directly call this multi. Let's see, multi, and you have to provide the values like 10 and 20. Okay, so you can write down here, this is function definition. Sorry. And this part is function calling. Okay, now let's finish the program. Let me compile the program with alt F9, and it shows 2 errors. Let me check what are the errors. So please read out the errors. Generally students are not reading the errors. They are expecting that faculty will help only. So please read out the errors. You can resolve. Undefined symbol cout. So the people want, a compiler want to know who is cout. So a compiler is not aware about the cout. So because the definition is in a header file, so we have to import a header file. Include, and the header file for cout is iostream.h. Let me compile again. Now again there is one error, and this error shows get.csv. So get.csv should have a prototype. So again get.csv is also defined into one another header file. This is a conio.h. Include, then console input output conio.h header file. Let me check again. This time there is no warning, no error. So congrats guys, and now let's run it again. So now you can observe result is 200. So just compare. You are going to divide 10 into 20 and the result will be 200 only. So thank you very much for watching this video, and please like my channel, subscribe my channel, and let me you can write down the comments below on my channels. I will try to resolve your query as well as